how I would approach it, you first need to understand what type of company you're working at. Because, for example, you might have already an established company who actually starts to build out a data team. In that case, it's important to understand what type of data work already has been done. Because when you have an established company, there's always a lot of data already available. It just might not be part yet of a data team. In that case, a lot of times you might have software developers who have done some data work as part of their day-to-day life. And in that case, it's also really important to build a relationship with these people, that you actually also know whether they really are like interested and invested in data. If that is the case, you should actually get these people as the first hires on your data team.
Right.
In case they're not really interested in working with data, then it's also just important that you move as fast as possible, that you can actually get the data work out of their hands so that they can actually focus on their primary task. And in an established company, I would have as my first hires a combination of a data scientist, a data engineer, and somebody who really can focus on quality. I would also not necessarily start out with a team of 5 people. It's better to kind of start out small and then see what the needs are and grow more, because you also need to be able to build your team culture first and show your value to the company as well, so that the executives have faith that they're like investing in the correct way. Another opposite that you can have is when you're joining a startup. Then it's really important to first understand whether there's already like a product market fit and how the data team can help out with building out a product market fit. In that case, I would say start out with one hire who is complementary with your skills, and that in that way you can do a lot of hands-on work yourself as well. And in that way, you're able to iterate faster and get the company as fast as possible to profitability. And you could say you can start with hiring a big team, but then you get like a lot of communication overhead. So in that way, I would always, certainly in a startup, will try to start as lean as possible. See where things are going, make sure that you have like a good relationship with everybody, and in that way see whether you're like going into the correct direction. And the faster you get to profitability, the easier it will be to like grow your team and do more fun projects.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, I think similar experience, right? This current role that I'm in, I started off as the first data scientist. We just hired 3 folks for 6 months along with me, right? Once we figured out a couple of problem statements, right, we were able to generate value and put them in production, right? Then we just kept about doubling the team every 6 months. So we ended up with a 20-member team now. So that ensures that you're also growing in a sustainable and a healthy fashion, right? Because it gives the time for the team to integrate itself, and you're making sure the right set of people will join. Yeah, and I think this is where the key art part comes in, right? Because as you mentioned, like different companies have different needs, and even within data world, not every data scientist looks similar, right? And not every data engineer is similar to the other one, right? Everyone has a very different set of skill sets and strengths, and something that executives might not understand, but that's where I think the data leadership comes in. How do you construct that right team? So yeah.
Also, what's another approach that I had, like one of the previous companies, was that I actually had like one more senior developer, and then depending on like the quarter, I would have like 1 or 2 co-ops. And it even would mean that I was continuously actually training people, getting them up to speed. And once they were always like really fast and being productive also.
Yeah.
But you always needed to keep in mind that you needed to start hiring again fast. And
Right.
it's important in those cases to really have good hires, because otherwise you can get less things done. But I was luckily always like really good in like getting correct people there to get the job done. But that way you can see that even with a team of three, you get 3 or 4, you can get like a lot of things done.
Yeah. And I think there's a good point there that you have a mix of experienced and young folks, right? Because younger ones bring in a lot of energy and speed, right? And the experienced one can bring in their direction and actually have a know-how of how things happen, right? So that they both, the mix of it gives the right speed and right experience. So yeah, great.